Wrestling fans, you got the show here at Big Slam Wrestling. I come to you with sad news, whether you've heard it already or not. Jim Hellwig, the Ultimate Warrior, has passed away at the age of 54. Uh, I watched the Warrior since I was a youngster, and I watched over the past year and a half the Warrior turn his life around, reputation in the business and amongst World Wrestling Entertainment uh, powers and the guys in the locker room and the industry as a whole. And he has cemented himself and brought himself back to the forefront and the top of the business. The Warrior was a bigger than life character in an age of over the top superhero like wrestlers that was the 80s and early 90s. And he found himself, much like the music industry at the time had changed from the hair metal bands and the like to grunge. All of a sudden, the cartoon characters for wrestling were no longer in the want, and no longer were relevant. And he quickly found himself to be a relic in a new age, in a new generation. The Warrior had lots and lots of detractors in the industry, haters, if you want to call them that. And Jim was far from perfect, as none of us are. But I don't believe he was malicious in his endeavors and having an overpowering drive and desire to be successful and be the best in the business that he chose to be in is not a sin and shouldn't be looked upon as being such. And that's the type of things that have been said by other wrestlers and people in the industry, that he was only out for himself and he didn't care about about wrestling. And I call bullshit on that. And to say that anybody that's in that business or any celebratory endeavor is in it for themselves. Bottom line, you're there to make yourself famous, to make money, and to put your name in lights. And that's what the Warrior did and continue to do. And it was a good feeling to see him inducted into the Hall of Fame finally. His words there were from the heart. He wasn't reading off note cards. He didn't have a teleprompter. He was telling it as it was and as it is. And if it made some people uncomfortable in that room, then so be it. And he got to make a final appearance at Raw this week, Monday night, live in front of a crowd that rose to its feet and popped like it was 1988, 89 again. And the Ultimate Warrior was on top of the world as far as professional wrestling. And it's the Warrior's death, it saddens me deeply. He's literally went from being the outcast to the hero, and he did go out on top of his game. His reputation, his legacy cleansed, and he has been placed among the immortals. You know, sometimes we know when it's our time. It's an unconscious thing, and everything gets put straight and cleaned up, and the future of one's family gets secured. And I believe this is one of those examples. The Warriors' final words on Raw were and are haunting, but also inspiring, as the Warrior was passionate and inspiring individual if you look beyond some of the craziness and the lunacy of the dialect and the way he chose to speak at certain times. But this was very poignant, and I'm going to share this with you, and that'll be the end of Big Slam Wrestling for today. Every man's heart one day beats its final beat. His lungs breathe its final breath. And if what that man did in his life motivates and moves the blood and pulses through the bodies of others, if it makes them believe deeper in something larger than life, then his essence and his spirit will be immortalized. Thank you, Warrior, for everything. You'll never be forgotten in this business. You told it how it was. You told us how it is. And now it's time for the Warrior to move back on to parts unknown, to be buried beneath that sacred ground. I'll see you down the road.